It'll be hard to find a better goalkeeper in the world right now than this guy. That performance versus PSG? Exceptional. And in the context of his season so far for Liverpool and his career overall, it's the best game of his career so far.
Yeah, probably of my life, I think. so far, hopefully.
Even he knows it was special, and it comes at a crucial time too, because just before this miracle performance versus PSG, a few months into the start of the current season, Alisson's position as Liverpool's number 1 was under threat. While Alisson was out injured, his number 2, Caoimhin Kelleher, was giving Arne Slot a selection headache. A penalty save against Real Madrid in the Champions League? Keeping a clean sheet and helping Liverpool beat Los Blancos in the competition for the first time since 2009? Something not even Alisson had managed to do. The picture was clear. There might have been all smiles between the two, but deep inside, the competition was on. On the one hand, Alisson knows he has to step up and keep the good performances going because any mistakes like the one he made against Southampton, and Kelleher's watching, waiting for his opportunity. But instead, what's happening over the course of the last few weeks is Alisson Becker reminding everyone why he's right up there with some of the best goalkeepers of his generation. That game in Paris is the yardstick. It just has to be. I mean, some of those saves were incredible, insane reflexes, parrying away to safety. Liverpool did get the late winner through Harvey Elliott, but Alisson was the reason they were still in the game in the first place. If you're a Liverpool fan, the truth is, it's almost become normal to expect the unexpected with Alisson. From incredible assists like this, to even joining an elite group of goalkeepers, to have scored in the Premier League, and in his case, he did it in dramatic circumstances. Hard to forget this winner versus West Brom in 2021. It was huge in helping Liverpool qualify for the Champions League that year. All of this just adds to his growing legend at the club. The players who have played with him, past and present, they know. See, a lot of people tend to think Liverpool's recent successes in recent years come mainly from the addition of Virgil van Dijk to that backline. And to be fair, with everything he's achieved over time, he kind of deserves this. But the point here is, even with Van Dijk's arrival, Liverpool didn't start winning stuff until the next season, when they got the final piece of the puzzle, and you can pretty much guess who that was. With Alisson came stability. Think of all the trophies they've won. The Champions League in 2019? Alisson kept a clean sheet in the final, the same stage they lost just months back with Loris Karius Howlers. The Premier League in 2019-20? Alisson more than played his part. The FA Cup final in 2022? He had the decisive moments. Over and over, for the last 7 years, Alisson has been Liverpool's rock at the back. But behind the scenes, a man they call the Irish Octopus was building his persona as Liverpool's number 2. The signs with Kelleher were special. Right from when he made his debut with the club in 2019, Caoimhin Kelleher from Liverpool's academy was already getting discussed as the potential backup to Alisson. But he needed to prove himself first, and in the years that followed, he certainly did. A clean sheet against Ajax on his Champions League debut after Alisson got injured. Followed that up with a clean sheet versus Wolves. And in 2022, Kelleher really showed the world he could be decisive at both ends of the field too. When it came down to the goalies, he scored his kick before Kepa missed his, to ensure Liverpool won the penalty shootout in the 2022 Carabao Cup final. The then Liverpool manager, Jurgen Klopp, put out a statement that became huge in trying to figure this one out.
Alisson Becker is the best goal in the world for me. There are good goalies out there, but this goalie is absolutely insane. But to be 100% honest, for me, is Caoimhin Kelleher the best number 2 in the world as well, especially for the way we play.
In his words, Alisson is the best goalkeeper in the world, and Kelleher is the best backup goalkeeper in the world. The status quo remained the same for him, and over the years, I guess he wasn't wrong. Alisson continued to start as Liverpool's first choice, but whenever the opportunities came for Kelleher, he took them. Perhaps the most impressive thing about him was his penalty-saving skills. The season after scoring for Liverpool in the shootout versus Chelsea, he saved an incredible 3 penalties versus Derby County to help Liverpool advance in the Carabao Cup. It was as if he'd made this particular competition his own, because in the following season, Liverpool got to yet another final, and Kelleher was once again instrumental. He made key saves in helping that injury-plagued Liverpool team win the League Cup against the odds versus Chelsea, and by this point, Kelleher's legend at the club was growing. Which brings us to the present day, the 2024-25 season. Liverpool has a new man at the helm, Arne Slot, and with him, the position of the goalies didn't change. Alisson number 1, Kelleher number 2. No changes there, but over the course of the season, Arne Slot has had the chance to see the two in action because of some injuries, and he's had some pretty tough decisions to make over time. We've talked about Alisson's incredible performance versus PSG, and his manager clearly expressed how he felt about it. In his opinion, the best goalkeeper in the world. A new manager? Same reaction. Alisson's impressed.
That maybe the players wanted to see how fit he really was, so to give him so much work. But of course that was not our plan. He showed again today why I said so many times that he's our first goalkeeper. That has nothing to do with Caoimhin. He did so well. But Alisson has been so important for this club for so many years, for his country as well, and showed today that he's probably one of the best, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper in the world.
But if you listen to that clip again, Slot also says his admission to that statement has nothing to do with Kelleher, and that's because he's seen firsthand just how good Kelleher is too. He says he's been outstanding. Rightly so too, because throughout the season, Kelleher has stepped up when he's gotten a chance. I did mention earlier that while they might be playing it down, somehow there has to be some sort of competition between the two. At least one of them sees it like that. Now this is where drama is at.
Yeah, like I said, obviously my ambition was to go out and play and be a number 1. The news have reported, and it's been reported that Liverpool had rejected a few bids as well. So like I say, it's not always in my hands to fully make the decision. So my ambition is clear that I think I'm good enough, and I want to go out and prove, play week in, week out.
You listen to Kelleher here, and he's being very honest about it. All he can do is play well when he gets the chance, and hopefully he does enough to give the manager a selection headache. He certainly has. When Alisson got injured in October, with the schedule of matches they had coming up, it should have been a cause for concern for the team. Real Madrid, Man City, Newcastle, Girona, plus many more tough matches on the horizon. Losing Alisson at such a critical period of the season should have been a problem. I say should have because in the end, it was anything but. Why? Because Kelleher stepped up. What he'd done in the moment wasn't just to help the team, he was staking his position in the squad too. With every solid performance, suddenly videos like this started popping up. Kelleher was now so good that it had almost become disrespectful to consider him as a number 2. And just like that, the situation started to grow. Suddenly the talk was about what Kelleher could potentially become elsewhere. He confirms that some clubs did make offers for him in the summer, but Liverpool rejected them. He stayed and maintained his status as Liverpool's number 2, a more than decent position when you consider just how impressive he is when he plays. The only problem is, becoming number 1 now doesn't seem like it'll be happening anytime soon, and that's because so far this season, Alisson has been ghosting Kelleher. Even opposition managers know. We'll get to an in-depth discussion on how the two stack up, but when Alisson plays, there's no denying his class. So what makes Alisson that good then? And how has he ghosted Kelleher this season? In the modern game now, it's a common thing to see managers who prefer to use goalies with abilities such as being comfortable on the ball, ball-playing goalies. Not that Alisson is bad in this category, far from it, but if we decide to look at him from what a proper goalie is supposed to be, his shot-stopping abilities, he's right up there. Take the 2023-24 season for example. Liverpool at times looked opened and conceded loads of chances to the opposition in games, but they somehow managed to finish 3rd, and were even in the running for the league up until the final weeks of the season. And that was thanks in large part to Alisson's form. As you can see from the image here, Alisson's save percentage in the 2023-24 season at 81.5% was the highest in the league at that point. And some of them weren't the average saves, they were stops like this. I still can't believe he pulled this off any time I play it back. It's mind-blowing. In the current 2024-25 campaign, Alisson's numbers might have taken a hit, and that's because of the injuries he suffered this season. But when he's been available and fully fit, the quality hasn't dropped. He's missed 8 league matches through injury this season, but from the 20 he's played this season, Only Matt Sells of Nottingham Forest and David Raya of Arsenal and Jordan Pickford of Everton have more clean sheets. And for context, the guy at the top, Matt Sells, has played 7 games more. Of the 8 games Kelleher has played in the league this season, he's kept clean sheets in 3 of them. By the time percentages get thrown into the mix, they're quite almost at the same amount. But then again, one's played 20 games and the other is featured 8 times. In the league, the argument could be made that Alisson's 47 saves are the 19th highest tally in the league, which is pretty low. But to counter this, it's because the guys in front of him, more often than not, make sure he's got very little to do. Ultimately, guys, it's hard to use stats or percentages to judge goalkeepers. It's usually down to varying metrics you can't measure with stats, and the reasons are kind of obvious. Usually, clean sheets are most times as a result of the collective effort of defence, and at a club like Liverpool, on more occasions than not, the goalkeeper usually has very little to do because of the guys in front of him. And so, as a result, having to judge a goalkeeper then is usually down to see how he positions, his aerial ability, and metrics in this category, which can't really be measured with numbers. The best goalkeepers come alive when the stakes matter, as we saw with Alisson against PSG. His 9 saves he made in the game were his highest in a match for Liverpool since he joined from Roma in 2018, and they came at a time when he'd known more than anyone else that he really needed to establish his position as number 1. Very crazy. As Kelleher continued to put up more numbers like this, it became clearer that it wasn't just hype. I mean, the position first Jurgen Klopp and now Arne Slot found themselves in, having 2 of the best goalkeepers in the world now, it's wonderful from the outside. But from the inside, it's become a battle trying to keep both happy. Earlier we talked about how Kelleher openly discussed the club rejecting bids for him. And now, looking at this, it's the player himself confirming he wanted to leave the club. So what does this mean then? That Liverpool has kept him means they've got a plan for him, at least for the immediate future. And it also impacts Alisson, because the club refusing to sell Kelleher puts out a statement where they're going to either play Kelleher and increase his game time. Now, it's even gone beyond that. I'll tell you how soon, but hit that subscribe button to Football Historia if you haven't yet for more content like this. So what's the situation then? In the games versus Real Madrid and Man City early on in the season, the ones Kelleher played, he was more than solid. With clean sheets in back-to-back games and looking at the quality of the opposition, the talk around him continued to increase. So now we know what makes Alisson good. It's how he completes that backline and how he combined being a ball-playing goalkeeper of the modern generation with the traditional responsibilities of a goalkeeper. How's he ghosted Kelleher then? Again, the metrics or stats might not tell the full story, but they do give a direction to understand which way to go with this. When looking at the save percentages of both this season, Alisson's 88.2% outweighs Kelleher's 73.9%. If there is indeed one place where the numbers could come in handy, it's in this subcategory. We know how Liverpool likes to play. Under Klopp previously and Slot now, it's the same thing. Building out from the back, that was the idea with Jurgen Klopp, and with Arne Slot now, they've become possession maximisers. They want to keep possession of the ball as much as they can, which includes the goalie knowing how to play too, and to do this they need goalkeepers who are comfortable on the ball. Alisson is very good at that. Just ask Bruno Fernandes. But when it comes to this aspect, playing out from the back, as the earlier clip suggests, Alisson is well-rounded in every aspect, so this isn't a concern for him. If we compare his numbers with Kelleher's numbers in this department, you'll see things like Caoimhin Kelleher coming up with 67 attempted launch passes, or to simply break it down, longer passes than Alisson's 40. The numbers in this subcategory don't end there. The average length of Kelleher's passes is another example. It hits 29.6 yards. Alisson? His number stands at 24.9. Guys, all these numbers in this category indicate one thing. It's not to suggest that Kelleher isn't good with his feet, but Alisson is a master at it. Where Alisson knows how to play the short passes to find his teammates in open spaces, Kelleher oftentimes prefers to go long, and with this option it's a 50-50. If they don't win the ball, they lose possession. You watch Liverpool play and you see how they trust Alisson when he's got the ball, even when the opposition has got players trying to quickly close him down. Not that he doesn't make mistakes, but they're most of the times very few and on rare occasions. When it's time to act as a sweeper keeper, Alisson nails it. For context, Alisson has performed more defensive actions outside of the box with 10 than Kelleher's 7, and at a much higher rate too, 1.70 to Kelleher's 1.17. Truth is, when the numbers stack up, Alisson is no joke. I could drop more stats, like the post-shot expected goals against, where Alisson overperforms at a rate of 2.5 compared to Kelleher's 0.9, but it all revolves around the same thing. As good as Kelleher has been this season, which is a huge credit to him, Alisson is still the main guy, and he's been showing that this season too. Ultimately, it comes down to experience. Remember at the start of the video where we touched on what Liverpool was before Alisson arrived? If we attempt to look at that a bit, you'd realise this was an area of the pitch that proved to be a problem for years for Liverpool. Credit to Caoimhin Kelleher and his 2013-14 season, where he almost helped the team win the league. But since Pepe Reina left the club in 2014, they hadn't had a solid replacement in that category. Then the problems at the back continued to grow when Virgil van Dijk arrived. It seemed they'd solved it, then Karius's mistake in the Champions League final, and it was clear what Liverpool had to do. What we've done now is show a progressive timeline of events before Alisson's arrival. Leading up to 2018, they'd won just one major trophy in 6 years, and that was the League Cup in 2012. The defensive and goalkeeping position needed readjusting, and Alisson provided that. His first season in England? He won the Premier League's Golden Glove Award for the most clean sheets in the season in 2018-19, and was the leading goalie for the Liverpool team that finished just a point behind league winners Man City. Put that disappointment behind him, and he helped the team keep a clean sheet in the Champions League final against Spurs in the 2019-20 season, the one where Liverpool finally ended the 30-year drought for the league. Alisson's dual role of shot-stopper and sweeper-keeper was on display again. You can see from this that a success Liverpool began to enjoy in the Klopp era only really started when Alisson arrived at the club, and to this end, he became a solution. Caoimhin Kelleher, on the other hand, is a very important part of this Liverpool team, as we've seen ever since he made his debut in 2021. He's been in goal the 2 times Liverpool have won the Carabao Cup in recent years, 2022 and 2024. And when it comes down to it, from the spot, he's probably the guy you'd want behind the sticks. He has an excellent track record of saving penalties. However, Alisson's experience edges him, and that's the angle he's used to come in and overtake Kelleher this season. It's a hypothetical statement what I'm about to say, seeing that Kelleher has had his fair share of miracle performances for Liverpool in the past. But it's hard to think of him repeating the same feats Alisson did against PSG. Again, those saves weren't cheap. The bunch of them were world-class. It's important too to mention that both are the starting goalies for their respective national teams, and this is one that just proves that Alisson is no stranger to competition at any level. When he isn't fighting off competition from Kelleher off the back of impressive performances for Liverpool, he's doing the same for his national team. For a considerable while now, it's been Alisson in goal or Man City's Ederson, a guy who Alisson admits he learns a lot from. The fact that they're both first choice for their respective nations, Alisson for Brazil and Kelleher for the Republic of Ireland, shows the level of competition Liverpool has got in that position. And while we've been talking about the two so far, in the summer it's going to be some trio. While Federico Chiesa seems to be the only new face to follow Arne Slot into Liverpool this season, the thing is, Slot actually made 2 signings last summer. One becomes active in the coming transfer window, and it's the Georgian number 1, Georgi Mamardashvili. Honestly, with this guy's arrival, it paints a very confusing picture at Liverpool. Why did they sign a new goalkeeper when they've already got arguably the best in the world and the best backup in that position too? It's because of a club policy that could very well shape how the summer turns out for Liverpool's goalkeepers.
Past performance is going to be the same as future performance. And because of that, and because they are 3 such iconic players,
this season, all the talk has been around Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold, all 3 with expiring contracts this summer, and how the club's policy of being careful with renewing contracts in this period has affected any contract talks between the players and the club. But the point here is, the same could be the case in a couple of seasons. Alisson, his contract expires in 2027. When you think about it, you could maybe see the picture here. Liverpool doesn't want to be in a case like the one they are now, where 2, arguably 3 of their best performing players have less than 3 months until they become free agents officially. And that's probably why they've signed Mamardashvili. But with his performances in recent weeks and his overall leadership at the back, Can we expect Liverpool to extend Alisson's contract at the club beyond 2027? If they do, then it narrows down to one thing. They keep Mamardashvili and let Kelleher leave for free. I mean, there's no way they'd have 3 first-team goalkeepers for international teams at the same time. It's not happening. The Mamardashvili angle brings a whole new angle to this. Could Alisson's days at Liverpool be up soon? The thing with goalkeepers is that they get better as they age. Think about the likes of Manuel Neuer, Gianluigi Buffon and Peter Schmeichel. All these guys got better with age. So again, Alisson ghosting Kelleher, it's opened up this option. With him coming through the door in the summer, it's always certain that Kelleher leaves. Mamardashvili probably becomes the new number 2, and that's because Kelleher, in the end, does realise he's unable to take Alisson's spot as the number 1. Not because he isn't good enough, but because Alisson is simply better. You have to factor in the ages too. In the trio, Mamardashvili is the youngest at 24. Kelleher's 27 now, and at that age where you know he'd almost demanding game time every week. And at 32, Alisson is at the peak of his career. You expect for a few years, before, if following the natural curve of footballers at that age, he begins to regress. Whatever does happen though, Liverpool knows that they're insanely blessed. I mean, think about it. They've had Alisson and Kelleher for the last 4 years now, and the two have grown in their careers at the same time. Not a lot of clubs would be able to boast about being in the position Liverpool are in the history of the game. And that's having 2 goalies like this who are very, very good. Still, the season hasn't ended yet, meaning these 2 still have important roles to play for Liverpool in various competitions this season. As of the time of recording this, Liverpool is a week away from the Carabao Cup final. Kelleher has played every game in the competition leading up to this stage, and so you'd expect him to in the big one at Wembley versus Newcastle. You wouldn't put him past him to produce another special performance or moment like he did in the last 2 Carabao Cup finals. On the other hand, Alisson and Liverpool are the driving force in the Premier League. As of recording this, they're 15 points clear of Arsenal in second place, having played a game more. At this point, it's a matter of when and not if Alisson adds a second league title. Because he played above the required number of for getting a winner's medal in the competition, Kelleher will receive a winner's medal in the Premier League should Liverpool win the league in a couple of months. But in the context of this debate, of everything we've discussed so far, Kelleher comes close with some special performances, but Alisson Becker is clear.
What I really like about Alisson is that he possesses all the traits equally. Like a lot of keepers like really excel in one said thing. Great at coming off the line, or great at punching, or great at kicking, or good shot stopper. He literally has equal attributes, I would say, in every aspect. Neuer's the one that is kind of that as well. Like you look at like the master of being off his line, master shot stopper, great with his feet. He's in the top 10.
Oh, you're not putting
of the world of ever. He's in the top 10 goalies ever.
Top 5,
and I'd say
ever.
He's in like the top 6.
Yeah, I would argue that.
Yeah, I think I agree with
but
that. He's in the top.
Get this, he's already being talked about as one of the greatest of all time. That's saying something. While Kelleher's future at the club is still under speculation, one man many people believe will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season is this guy, Darwin Núñez. A goal versus Southampton as of recording this, but on the whole this season, the good performances have been few and far between. Is he bad? And if he is, just how bad is he then? It's all in the next video.